On today's edition of Anime Spotlight, Soun Tendo, master of the Tendo Dojo and the man responsible for breathing new life into an art destined for extinction. We will look at the life of a man who trained hard and overcame adversity to eventually become one of the most instantly recognizable figures in all of Tokyo. All of this on Anime Spotlight. Greetings, young martial arts enthusiasts. I am Soun Tendo. And what is Anything Goes Martial Arts? Is karate, kung fu, taekwondo, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, boxing, capoeira, street fighting, kendo, archery, fencing, jousting, alchemy, telekinesis, meditation, conjuring, stars, swords, staffs, grenades, guns, artillery vehicles. What is Anything Goes Martial Arts? I think the proper question is, what isn't Anything Goes Martial Arts? Come and visit the Tendo Family Training Hall and ask about our free trial offer, or call the number on your screen. Act now! Soun Tendo's early days were centered around one thing: martial arts. As a youngster, he fascinated in all the different fighting styles from around the world, and dreamed of excelling in all of them. Many of his fellow classmates were taken aback by Soun's unusual obsession, but there was one student who shared his feelings, a boy by the name of Genma Saotome. Soun and Genma would spend every moment together, sparring with each other, honing their crafts, reading and learning about all the different kinds of martial arts. Others may have viewed these two as buffoons, but they enjoyed intellectual hobbies. They were actively involved in their school's drama club. They were heralded for their skills in creative writing, often challenging each other to write poetry and haiku on the fly. When they were not physically testing each other's abilities in the dojo, they were challenging each other's minds in games like Go and Shogi.
You've got a friend.
It was in high school where Soun would meet his soulmate, the woman destined to one day be his bride. Here we see an early photograph of Soun during those carefree days. Soun and Genma grew into accomplished martial artists, but they always longed for more. They both had an insatiable desire to learn and grow, and one fateful day their tireless studies led them to a long dormant martial art, one that rolled up every conceivable style into one. This was Anything Goes Martial Arts. Soun and Genma obsessed over this hidden discipline. Long it was thought to be an art lost in the bowels of time, but after an exhaustingly long search, the two eager young boys were able to connect with the one man who could lead them on the path. The man was Master Happosai, a diminutive man about 2'4" and over 400 years old. Happosai gladly took Soun and Genma under his wing, and the three immediately set out to trek across the earth, training and absorbing every step of the way. Soun Tendo and Genma Saotome were not afraid of a little hard work, but they were unprepared for Master Happosai's harsh training methods. Happosai, little by little, revealed himself to be evil, perverted, and self-serving. He frequently used the boys for his own personal gain, using them as decoys and whipping boys in his many criminal activities. They unwillingly helped him sneak into women's locker rooms and bathhouses, and regularly would end up washing dishes after their master would eat at restaurants and skip out without paying. Soun and Genma dealt with unending torture and humiliation for a great many years, and eventually realized they were not learning fast enough. In fact, they were not learning anything at all. Soun and Genma decided in one last session to put an end to their training, and to their master, once and for all. One day, roaming deep in the mountains of Hida, Soun and Genma fed their master sake until he was inebriated. They hauled him cliffside to a deep dark cave and sealed him away in a makeshift tomb. Finally, Soun and Genma were free to develop at their own pace, but with Happosai, the last bastion of Anything Goes Martial Arts, out of the way, their treasured discipline was in danger of extinction. The two made a solemn vow: for Anything Goes Martial Arts to survive, it would be through their bloodline. Together they planned on one day marrying their children, merging their two schools, and carrying on the art through their children and their children's children. Having lost so much time, the two continued to migrate, and scrambled a bit to find their footing. Having no guidance whatsoever, the two found themselves in some precarious situations, most notably their well-documented martial arts dining loss against Piccolo Chardin I. Soun Tendo stepped forward in a gesture to repay Piccolo for all the food they had eaten, agreeing to offer one of his future daughters to the Chardin family as a bride. That was a decision that would later come back to haunt the Tendo family. Coming up, a man's dreams of grandeur become a reality, only for tragedy to strike.
Especially Ranma, Water Island.
Shampoo! Don't mention him in the commercial.
Yeah, Shampoo invites you to come to one great restaurant.
The Cat Café!
The Cat Café! Stupid great grandmother and dumb moose, no steer my lines.
The Cat Café, also known as Neko Hanten, is the hottest place to be this summer, and the most successful privately owned business.
You said it, you dried up monkey! Over 50,000 served and going strong!
Who are you calling dried up?
We open 7 days a week, 7 to 9 weekday, and open late on weekend.
On Tuesdays, try our all-you-can-eat pot stickers. Zagat's rates them the best in Tokyo. Also try our award-winning yakisoba. And I mix a great margarita! A virgin margarita, of course. The boy is too young to serve alcohol. But you're lying! I serve alcohol all the...
So come all people to Cat Café for good eating and good fun.
Shampoo! You can't forget to tell them about karaoke night!
Stupid moose, you no can sing.
You're right, Shampoo, I'm useless. Not now, you two! We're making a commercial.
I hate you, moose.
I know, and why? All I've ever done is love you.
Because you're stupid and ugly.
Calm down, I said.
Ow! Butt out, you gross old hag.
Don't talk to me like that.
You great grandmother.
What did you just say to me?
You f***ing fuck.
So, come on down to the Neko Hanten, also known as the Cat Café, located in Tokyo's Narima district just 1.5 miles east of the Tendo Dojo, and ask about our seasonal business come wintertime.
Parking is extremely limited, so please be sure to use public transportation if at all possible.
For the next couple of years, Soun Tendo put his rigorous training with Genma Saotome on hold, and concentrated on his family. He married his high school sweetheart. Soun and his wife gave birth to 3 lovely daughters, Kasumi, Nabiki, and Akane. Soun earned a modest living as the master of the newly established Tendo Training Hall, located in Tokyo, Japan's Narima district, which spread the word of anything goes martial arts to the young community. Of his 3 daughters, his youngest, Akane, grew to be his most worthy successor. As for Genma, he married as well to his wife Nodoka and bore one son, Ranma. Genma established the Saotome School of Anything Goes martial arts, but lacking proper funding, he was forced to reduce the school to one-on-one mentoring. Soun and Genma kept in touch regularly, but rarely did they see one another as they were busy with their respective families and businesses. Every once in a while they would break away and go on light training missions, but as time passed, these expeditions came less and less. Soun Tendo himself would tell you that he is not the most accomplished martial artist. In fact, his win-loss record is stacked largely in his opponent's favor. He has, however, patented his own personal repertoire of super moves to be used on the battlefield, moves he developed while groveling before the benevolent Master Happosai. One of such abilities is the Ghost Aura, which Soun can implement whenever he doesn't get what he wants, or goes into a crying fit. Its success rate speaks volumes.
Saotome, let's do it! I'm right behind you.
His Samurai Aura has Soun taking the appearance of a Godzilla-sized samurai, and with this move he can fight opponents much larger than he. This move takes a great deal of concentration, and rarely does Soun pull it from his bag of tricks. Finally, there are his most fearsome moves, the Claw of the Furious Dragon, and the Kick of Casual Conflagration. Their terror speaks for itself. Soun Tendo brings new meaning to the phrase playing possum. To the casual onlooker, it would appear that he is weak, sniveling, whiny, easily scared, and overly sensitive, but this is all part of the anything goes style. There is a method to Soun's madness, and what it is, we'll never know, cause Soun isn't telling. Unfortunately, tragedy was about to strike the Tendo family. Soun Tendo's wife fell terminally ill and died unexpectedly. The whole family was rocked to the core, and Soun found himself a single father of 3. His eldest daughter Kasumi stepped into a motherly role and helped nurture her siblings, but nonetheless Soun's parental responsibilities increased tenfold, and it became family 24/7. Soun kept a hard head throughout those tumultuous times, mostly for his children, but inside he was an emotional powder keg. Even though his heart wasn't into it, he continued to run the Tendo training hall, which was seeing less than stellar business. He generally kept things light and put on a happy face, raising his daughters from childhood to their teenage years. During these times, he fell out of touch with Genma Saotome, who by this time had estranged from his wife to put his child through tough as nails on-the-road training. Though now a part of a broken family, Soun Tendo would fast see his family becoming extended. For one crisp spring morning, he received a postcard from his old friend Genma Saotome, saying that he and Ranma, now a lad of 16, were finally ready to fulfill their obligations as per their agreement, and they were on their way from China to stay with the Tendos. Once they arrived, it was decreed that Ranma would marry Soun Tendo's youngest daughter, Akane, and the two would carry on the newly merged schools. Ranma was a sarcastic young boy with a sharp wit, but he showed Soun Tendo nothing but respect.
This doesn't have anything to do with you, Mr. Tendo. It's a guy thing, okay?
Ranma became a poster child for the Tendo Dojo, and his Jusenkyo curse garnered a lot of attention. But this did not necessarily equate to business, as Soun Tendo frantically pinched every penny, trying to provide for his 3 daughters and 2 freeloading house guests. Things became even more difficult a few months later, when Happosai re-emerged and took up domicile with the Tendos. He respected Soun to an extent, but he enjoyed sticking it to his attempted killer. He found perverse joy in making Soun and Genma whimper and beg for their lives. He resumed his criminal voyeuristic nature, which earned the dojo bad press. And he ate like a garbage disposal with no thought of where the food was coming from. The Tendo Dojo's business was down, and now with 7 mouths to feed, Soun was forced to micromanage each and every dollar spent. For the most part, he kept the family afloat, though there were days where a scant dinner found its way to the table. A man under great stress, Soun is not afraid to let his emotions spill to the surface. It is very common to see Mr. Tendo with tears welling up in his eyes. You could say it is almost his trademark. Against all odds, Soun Tendo would persevere and bring the Tendo Dojo to prominence. Although still not a multi-million-dollar powerhouse, the Tendo Training Hall is a fixture of the Nerima district, and with the popular Ranma Saotome at the forefront, it became so much more than a dojo. It became the police power of the Nerima district. The Tendos and Saotomes became an unstoppable neighborhood watch along the lines of the Guardian Angels, righting wrongs, investigating crimes, even busting ghosts and fighting monsters, never asking for anything in return but maybe a free meal every once in a while. Their selflessness has saved countless lives and rescued countless businesses from the brink of disaster.
The 2 guys he was with, the bald one with the do-rag and the pigtailed boy in red, they really made a mess of things. But Soun and the old man saved the day. Quite a sight to behold, I remember.
Oh yes, that nice man and his friends helped our quiet little town by getting rid of that terrible octopus pot. Now business is free to flourish.
Mais oui, the Tendos and the Chardins had a, how you say, rocky relationship in the past. But it's all water under the bridge. He is a magnificent man. He may very well be my father-in-law someday. Crêpes Suzette, au revoir!
Many aspiring martial artists have passed through the dojo's giant double doors, such as stocky young Genji Heita, who has since won dozens of tough man competitions, and sisters Natsume and Karumi, who once thought they were Soun Tendo's long-lost children. Even more impressive, it was the Tendo Dojo that put an end to the reigns of 3 notorious Dojo Yaburi, the Dojo Destroyer, Kengyu the Herder Star, and Temari Kaminariman. Soun Tendo, to this day, remains a devout, active teacher in the dojo, and is useful in the sidelines as an advisor, a referee, and Soun finds a particular glee in grabbing a microphone and commentating to anyone within earshot. What a ham! Soun and Genma, long referred as the Abbot and Costello of Tokyo, have even continued their own training, learning the mysterious now you see it, now you don't technique, after a rugged sabbatical under Master Chinginsai. Today, the Tendo Dojo still stands proudly in the Nerima Square, breaking the rays of the rising sun. Amidst the sound of cicada bugs and the splash of a koi, Soun stands on the patio of this magnificent school. As long as the foundations of this school hold still, anything goes martial arts is secure. This hub of learning, its knowledge not to be taught anywhere else. It is a place for eager young minds to grow, explore, and adventure. He overcame a lot to get here, this rustic backyard, these proud walls of rice paper, but here he is. A permanent staple of the quaint Nerima district, a man recognized by one and all. Soun Tendo, you are legend. We leave you today with a special musical tribute entitled Bravery.
Oh, Akane! Kasumi! Kasumi! No, it can't be! I won't believe it! Kasumi! What's wrong, Akane? Promise me you won't die. The miracle of love. Oh, Akane, how could this have happened to you? But not this battle, and why do they have to risk it all? Get on. Akane! The TV show. Kasumi! It's all your fault! No. How could you? I take it all back, I'm sorry. Kasumi, she yelled at me.
That's it. Just let it all out.
I can't stand it.
This has been a Ranma 1/2 Character Profile.